Please excuse the background noise. My 3D printer is currently printing a dust shoe for the Lowrider V3. This is a quick walkthrough of using DevContainers to build the firmware for the Marlin source code. The change I made is a fork from the main branch of the V1Engineering repository. The changes are the addition of the dev container directory, which has the environment that's being used, as well as a new set of documentation to describe how to use this. So I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of this. So inside of Visual Studio Code, I am going to create a remote container and clone a repository in a container volume. From here, I'm going to check out my fork of this and paste it in here. Quick note, I don't have any containers set up already, so this is going to go out and do everything completely fresh. We can watch it build here, but what is going to happen is it's going to create a new volume to check out the source code into. It's going to create a virtual Linux environment with all of the dependencies, including platform.io, and give me essentially a Linux shell inside of VS Code. This will take just a few minutes. Okay, we're up and running. I lied. I did create this before, so let's delete this first. We're going to delete that firmware, and we're going to delete our Marlin directory. So this is what it should look like when you first come up with a sterile environment. So inside of our command line here, we have our typical directories, and I've added this build.sh file. Build.sh does all of the legwork for checking out a configuration, checking out the Marlin source code, and doing a cleanup of that, and configuring and building for our target. So if we run build.sh just by itself, it's going to tell us all of the available configurations. So we'll just pick one here. Let's just do a Rambo dual LR. So we run build.sh, and we're going to paste that in there. And it's going to clone the Marlin repository. It is going to use platform.io. Platform.io is going to download its toolchain dependencies and do the final build. Really checking out creating the toolchain dependencies takes most of the time. And I'll note again, I have not installed any dependencies. This is all running inside of a virtual container in Docker. So if you were to create it, you would have the exact same environment that I have here. It's built, and we can download firmware.hex by right-clicking it in the Explorer and choose download. And if you recall, again, we're running this in a virtual container, so this doesn't actually exist on my computer. So if I want to copy anything in, I have to download it from that container to my computer. And there you go. If we wanted to do a different version, we can certainly build that, and the build script is going to do everything that we need to do to clean up the original Marlin source tree. And since this happened really quickly because it already had all of the dependencies. But it did a complete clean and everything of our trees without using the virtual Python, the virtual environment Python. Since we're running in our own container, we're not going to pollute anything else because this exists entirely to build our source code. So to have a little bit of fun here, we can do the same thing inside of GitHub code spaces. So if I do not want to install Docker on my computer, if I don't want to have the resources on my computer, or if I just want to show off, I can create a dev container inside of CodeSpace. And what this is doing is the exact same thing that we did before, except GitHub is hosting this for me. And I'm paying a little bit for this. I pay about maybe $3 a month or so ultimately depending on how much I use it. But GitHub is managing the compute platform for me. And in a few seconds, this is going to give me a full Visual Studio Code dev environment inside of my web browser. This is the coolest thing since sliced bread. So now, inside of Chrome, I have this Visual Studio dev environment that is 99% capable of what I had before. That percentage is obviously made up. But you can see here we have the same files that we had. And I can run build.sh, and it looks exactly the same, except that I'm running this inside of Chrome. So we're gonna grab another one, and we're gonna build this. Let's give it access to my clipboard, and now we are building in the cloud, doing the exact same thing, except I don't own any of these compute resources. It's going to do the same thing that we did before, downloading the tool chains, because it is literally identical to what it was before. And obviously inside of here we can come through and we can look at the source code, and we have full access to the source code and can make whatever changes we need to make as part of our development environment. So we built our firmware file, and there it is. In the same way, we can download this to our computer. So there you have it, Visual Studio Code running in a full dev container, both on my local computer, using a local Docker installation, as well as using code spaces where I don't have to own or manage any of the compute resources. And once I'm done with this, I can just I can close this, stop it. How do I do this? There we go. Stop current code space. So now I'm not using those compute resources anymore. Thank you very much for watching.